So last night, I had the privilege of speaking with an accomplished editor and author who is also a TED speaker. And I thought this was really remarkable. TED Talks are kind of a elite gig. I asked him how he got not one, but two speaking slots at these TED conferences. And the answer he gave me was, I thought, itself remarkable. He says, "I don't pitch, I catch." And what he meant by this was that rather than having an agent or somebody, going over to TED and saying, "Hey, Chris Anderson, let my client have a TED talk." He said he's even tried pitching. He said it's just on average doesn't work because when you go and ask for things, the likelihood you get them is less. So he focuses instead on catching and finding and permitting opportunities to come to him. And he focuses on being remarkable at what he does with his writing, with his ideas, with the speeches he gives. And while he would enjoy sometimes having more opportunities, he finds that this allows him to get those opportunities at a much lower cost and to get really remarkable opportunities, like speaking at TED. And so the secret, he told me, is to focus on being the maximum of who he is as an editor, as a writer, as a thinker, and then to put himself in a position to be found by doing what he finds to be easy. And I would probably describe it as pitching, just pitching in the domain that he's more comfortable with, which is to say, spreading his work around, telling editors about it, looking for publication gigs, and then developing trust relationships with people who are then going to publish him. And then those small things lead to the big things through being found. I thought this was a really neat idea because when I think about how I have been successful in the past, the truth is a lot of it comes down to catching. In particular, Element 55, which was one of my more successful businesses, really got its kickstart from a competition that we almost didn't enter. Because it was a competition being held by the International Legal Technology Association, where those who were selected, the few, would be able to present to this room full of super senior CIOs, chief information officers, from the largest 100 law firms on planet Earth. And for a legal tech firm, that was a pretty good gig. But we figured, number one, this is going to be really competitive. There'll be lots of big companies there, and those are the ones who are going to be chosen because the big law firms work with these big companies. And that second, we would burn a lot of time, and time was something we didn't have a lot of because we're a small, scrappy little startup company, and I'm particularly thinking about my time now too. So we put it down, and we think that's a little sad. But then I got an email that said, "Hey, we'd really like it if you would submit because we think what you're doing is really interesting. And we think this is the kind of idea that we want to expose our group of, very large firm CIOs to." Okay. So we submitted and we were selected. Now, because that was kind of pre-wired, we were catching, right? So we were, of course, trying to put together a decent application, but this wasn't really a pitch. We weren't saying, "Hey, let's enter the competition, see if we can get it." It was, we were invited, and it was a little bit pre-wired. And of course, what they really want are the remarkable ideas, remarkable companies. I don't mind saying that we were one of those. And we went and gave the presentation. I think they came away educated and we came away with more leads and a kickstart to a business that would, become quite successful over the intervening years. The looking for opportunities to be able to catch and using catching as a signal of market demand, I find really helps a business. And then when you can combine that, perhaps later, with somebody who knows how to pitch, who can drive more of that and get more value from that existing demand, that's where you can really soar. There are some people who know how to pitch and who can start with pitching, and those people I celebrate and think they should be doing what they can do. But for the rest of us who have other domains of expertise, focusing on those domains, being expert at what we do, and putting ourselves in a position to be exposed to new ideas and to share those we have with a wider audience is really quite useful. In that vein, the way I had that conversation that I discussed at the beginning of this talk was on a platform called Lunch Club. And Lunch Club is a pairing service that sets up virtual meetings with people from all over the world. And I get to meet with other senior executives and have these remarkable conversations like this one and learn things that I just otherwise would not have. And by putting myself out there in the position to both listen to others and to be heard, I create the opportunity to catch remarkable opportunities.